Please be seated. Thank you very much. The Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Judges, Honorable Speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying that it is a pleasure to participate in this event and indeed to witness the Chief Justice convey this year's report on the administration of justice to the nation. Justice, a philosopher once insisted, is the first virtue of any society. It means that all of us, but the judiciary in particular, have an interest in defending this virtue, without which we wouldn't have a country or a people. All of us expect that our honest efforts will be duly rewarded. All of us rely on the promise that the judiciary will stand with us in the event of a disagreement or challenge of similar kind. And all of us want justice to be our shield and defender. Gains in the judiciary, without doubt, have been witnessed throughout the country and have made our nation a better society that is ready to steer its affairs higher and to reach out to the rest of the world, forging a promising future for ourselves. Indeed, it is also notable that these gains have fundamentally been driven by the Constitution of Kenya 2010 that was so overwhelmingly voted for and promulgated on the 27th of August 2010. The realization of judicial reforms, though, through constitutionalism, and more specifically, the keen and deliberate observance of the dictates of our Constitution, promotes an overall national culture of respect for the rule of law, which, as I believe you will all agree, is the foundation of democratic governance. Indeed, I urge today the judicial officers to serve all Kenyans fairly and diligently, and to specifically uphold the Constitution and the law, so that Kenyans will in turn defend the officers having seen their good work. As we reflect today on where we stand in the administration of justice, we should therefore cast direct focus on those matters of national interest and how successful the judiciary has been in addressing those that have been submitted to the courts for adjudication. The overwhelming public interest in some of them, such as corruption, as the CJ has mentioned, land rights, misadministration, demands timely conclusion of such matters. It also calls for decisive determination that citizens can relate with. The business community, for instance, and its desire to invest resources that will eventually grow our economy, create jobs for our young men and women, looks forward to fair and timely decisions from the courts on matters that may need judicial intervention. For example, there is still a long delay in the resolution of commercial cases. It still takes an average of 459 days to resolve one case, and this according to World Bank data. We have to find a way to reduce this sharply, because without doubt, it hurts business, it delays growth, it denies jobs. Equally, while exercising its mandate, the judiciary must be mindful of the effects of its actions on the other arms of government, and how will it affect the lives of ordinary Kenyans. Any decision that negatively affects the desire of a better, prosperous life for the average Kenyan or their safety and well-being should be carefully interrogated before being undertaken. And we have a number of examples in that. In sum, therefore, the administration of justice should not be shrouded in intrigues that only a few understand. The citizenry as a whole should be fully engaged in it, since judicial authority at the end of the day is sovereign power of the people, delegated to the courts through the Constitution. On the next matter, I speak also from my experience as a politician. You also ought to accept that criticism comes with the office, whether in the media, in journals, in public baraza, social media, and indeed even from me. Kenyans will say what they have to say, and most of the time it will not be flattering. However, that is democracy. And as I have learned anyway, that one or two things in response. First is simply just grow a thick skin, CJ. And secondly, consult. Talk to people within the law, but also hear the other side. Parliament has these mechanisms of consultation, both with other arms or other branches of government, but also with the people. And I believe the judiciary can also follow suit. I believe Kenyans are reasonable, and what they want is to be heard. In the same spirit of inclusiveness, all parts of government should work to connect and in concert towards the realization of justice within our community. Administration of justice is attained when the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary work together, and not just when the judiciary acts alone. We should be conscious of the judiciary's needs, and we should render our support without delay or undue hesitation. The executive will offer the relevant backing for implementation of judicial decisions, and Parliament should not only pass relevant legislation, but working in concert with the executive also avail sufficient resources to the judiciary. I believe that this is the spirit of constitutionalism that is called for in Article 249 of our Constitution. In the very same vein, the horizontal mechanisms of cooperation and consultation across government should also equally be duly exercised. Consultation between the organs of government, I believe, is a constitutional principle and cannot be misunderstood to mean interference with the independent mandates of the organs of government. If we have not had an opportunity to jointly interrogate certain decisions, procedures, or institutional approaches that undermine governance objectives and render this cooperation useless, then we must begin to find a better way to collaborate as a matter of urgency. The administration of justice, I believe, is a national responsibility for all organs of government and indeed all citizens of Kenya. It thus has to be pursued and promoted jointly across government and at all levels as a public good. It must be borne in mind that constitutionally, justice is a pillar for our national life, and its promotion is not an exception, it is an obligation on all arms of government. Let me close once again by reiterating the words of the CJ Chief Justice himself, that we all are one government. We are one government serving one people, serving one nation, serving one national interest. We are independent, but we are interdependent. We need one another in order to fulfill our obligation to those who have delegated their authority to us. And I look forward in partnering with you in that endeavor. And as the CJ and I were discussing earlier about even the pressures and the need for us to find and mobilize additional resources, I have made a commitment to see how we can work together with Parliament and avail additional resources so that the Court of Appeal can move from here to Upper Hill somewhere. You were saying, sijui ni wapi? Yeah? Yeah? And that this then can remain the seat of the Supreme Court, and so that we can give our judicial officers the opportunity to operate in a decent environment that enables them to become effective in that which they do. And with those brief remarks, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous and happy 2017 for all of us as Kenyans. I look forward to what 2018. You have made my life difficult, so it still looks like the year hasn't ended. May God bless you, and asanteni sana.